currently in Canada, we are having what is referred to as the Emergencies Act inquiry. It's called the Public Order Emergency Commission, the POEC. They're going over the circumstances surrounding the invocation of the Emergencies Act by Justin Trudeau. It's a six-week commission, after which they're going to come prepare a report, findings, conclusions, recommendations, etc. Yesterday, it was shocking and upsetting to watch. A lawyer for the commission just up and collapsed during his presentation. I mean, and you can't ignore it, because it becomes disingenuous to ignore. This is I edited out the end because it's distressing to watch, which is why people have a moral obligation to ask certain questions.
So you have a phone call at 1300 hours, I think, with Deputy Minister Rob Stewart. He says that there are 300 commercial CMV, that's commercial vehicles.
Yes.
So you have a phone call at 13.
So that happens. That happens during a commission into the during the commission to investigate this context, the circumstances surrounding the invocation of the Emergencies Act, which was in response to massive protests protesting vaccine mandates in particular. Mask mandates as well, but vaccine mandates. The commission has been set up to investigate the circumstances surrounding which Justin Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act in the context of protests that were protesting mandatory vaccines. And you have a lawyer for the commission collapse. He did not die, and I have it on good sources that he is alive. He is alive. I mean, I think we would have known by now, but I contact people at the commission. He's alive. I tweeted it yesterday as soon as I knew. He was with EMS. But you go to CBC and you go to MSM, and they report collapsed. Oh, it set back the delay. They had to go to break and then change witnesses. Condition unknown, and then move on. Just talk about the commission. It's becoming outrageous. It's becoming outrageous and egregious. People are going to say, well, he might have been stressed. He might have gotten nervous. It did not look like it was his first rodeo as an attorney. He might have had low blood sugar. Maybe. He might have had a number of things. But you remember once upon a time, like whenever anybody was getting sick and going to hospital, what did the CBC say? What were the questions that everyone was asking? Oh, don't trust me. Don't trust me, people. Viva brings receipts. Where was it? It was earlier today. Do you remember? These stories were running rampant. Some unvaccinated people are going public after getting COVID-19. Will it convince others to get the shot? CBC News. Here's another headline. CBC News. Calgarian drops opposition to COVID-19 after traumatic ICU stay. When people get hospitalized with the Rona, first question, were they vaccinated? That's the first question anybody asks. When someone dies from the Rona among private citizens, first question people ask, were they vaccinated? Oof, they weren't vaccinated. They should have been vaccinated. Oh, when they're on their deathbeds in the hospital, allegedly, then the media is interested in their vaccination status. U.S. radio host who regretted vaccine skepticism dies of COVID-19. CTV News. August, this is barely a year ago. Someone dies from COVID. Everybody wants to know if they were vaccinated. Oh, let me rephrase. CTV, CBC, Global News want to know. When someone's hospitalized, were they vaccinated? So they can blame the hospitalization on the absence of vaccination. Set aside for the fact that, go look at the stats as to vaccination status versus hospitalization now. Global News. I chose not to get the vaccine. BC mom battling COVID speaks from her ICU bed. Oh, in those cases, legacy Canadian government subsidized media is very interested in vaccination status. When people are dropping dead at abnormal rates, when the leading cause of death in Alberta is unknown causes, when 18-year-olds are suffering cardiac arrest during tennis warm-ups, when New Brunswick is reporting abnormally high all-cause death. When people are collapsing on camera in a commission that was called to investigate the circumstances surrounding the Emergencies Act being invoked in response to a protest to vaccine mandates, nobody can ask. You're a conspiracy theorist for even suggesting that the spate of died suddenly, collapsed suddenly, might have something to do with something. They don't even ask the question. So I ask the question. And I'm to be made to feel bad for asking the question. And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face, even though it'll fall on deaf ears to the likes of the people who want to demonize me for asking the question. This is not Schadenfreude. This is not you get what you ask for, period. I find it extremely upsetting to see 18-year-olds suffering cardiac arrest playing tennis. I find it extremely upsetting to see articles in the news suggesting that young people need to get their hearts checked. Oh, don't young people urged to check hearts. What article? What article was it? Young people urged to check heart. Don't trust me. I mean, you'll grow to trust me. Doctors urge young people to get heart checked to bid tackle. Sorry, let me phrase this. Doctor urges young people to get heart checked in bid to tackle unexpected deaths. June 2022. I've been alive for long enough to know I've never seen this before. Oh, but no, I can't ask when I'm seeing people collapse in real time. I can't say, hey, dude, might it be related? When there's a spike in neonatal deaths in Scotland, not only can you not answer the question, they rule it out. Doctors have ruled out the jibby jab as a potential. It's irrelevant. Nobody asks the question, and I'm to be made to feel bad and mean for asking the question. I'm not asking it to rub in anybody's face. I'm asking it because it's about time people start not being shy about asking it. And if there's a problem, that people can adjust course to prevent this from happening to anybody else in the future. So nobody asks it, and I'm going to be the asshole, I guess. Okay, I'm forced to become the asshole by asking the obvious question that everybody's thinking. Everybody knows they're thinking it. And by the way, just to show you that I don't have any sort of proclivity to connecting dots. Since it seems no one from government-funded MSM is going to ask the question of the lawyer, if the lawyer who collapsed yesterday during the Emergencies Act was jabbed, double jabbed, boosted, double boosted, triple boosted, since nobody will do it, I will. How many jabs has he had, and as of how recently? Well, it doesn't take long for the internet to do the job that journalists are supposed to do. And I'll find the individual who found it first. It's going to be somewhere in response. Here we go. So not only was the individual vaccinated, but based on a hashtag, he was vaxxed to the max. This is from June 30th, 2021, so a year ago. Presumably vaxxed to the max means boosted as often as you can. So by the way, someone has a public incident. Someone has a public health, call it a crisis, because that's what it is. After having publicly espoused and promoted vaccination, and all of a sudden, I'm to be the asshole for asking what his vaccination status was? The individual chose to promote a medical procedure for himself, for others, publicly and proudly, vaxxed to the max. And then this individual, and there were more posts, by the way. This was not the only one. There were more posts. Then this individual collapses during an inquiry, and I'm not allowed asking the question, and I'm the nutcase for expecting mainstream media to ask the question. If this individual were recently boosted, say within the last 2 months, I think we're entitled to I think we're entitled to know that. And not just entitled to know because of the public statements made by this individual. We have the right to know to the extent that the government is currently still pushing this policy on citizens. And by the way, the individual looks like a genuinely nice person. You go through his Twitter feed. He's a government employee. I mean, whatever. He seems like a genuinely nice person. He might have, vaxxed to the max. Hashtag vaxxed to the max is an indication of something. But he seems like a good person, not toxic. Although some people might find it toxic for politicians to be publicly promoting getting vaxxed to the max. There was another tweet where he said he got his daughter for her birthday a vaccine. I mean, but this individual can publicly promote a medical intervention for himself and for others, and then when this person publicly suffers an incident that we have been seeing far too much of, we're not allowed asking the obvious questions. But of course, if someone ends up in the hospital with the Rona, obviously they get to be asked that question. It's the public's right to know. Oh, and by the way, if you want to go sit in a food court, then they get to ask you your vaccination status. Collapse during an inquiry after having publicly promoted getting vaxxed to the max. Nobody can ask. It's none of your business. You're a selfish bastard conspiracy theorist for asking it. You want to go eat in a food court, get into a Canadian Tire, go to a movie, go to a coffee shop? Well, then they get to ask you. And don't be a conspiracy theorist bastard. Show your QR code. What was I going to say? To show that I'm not a reflexive, it's all about the jibby jab. Who was the musician that just passed away recently? Not every sudden death is going to even have the shade of it being a relevant question. When that I forget his name now, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. The musician who just died suddenly, and all early indications, Carter, thank you, Aaron Carter. Early indications was that Twitter timeline was overdose, drug addiction, battling addiction. I mean, some people mistakenly, reflexively died suddenly, jibby jab. From what I understand, the individual was not pro-vaccine. I don't know, but from all indications, it looked like something else. By all indications, I don't know what this looks like, but the fact that nobody's asking the question, despite a very, very public profile on the issue, I'm not the a-hole for asking the questions. People are doing a disservice, a negligent disservice to the general public by not asking the question. So that. I still want to know the answer. And people deserve to know the answer. Let me just pull up a few things. Just, I get accused of connecting dots that don't exist, and that's fine. I mean, I expect the people who don't ask the questions to accuse people who ask the questions of connecting dots that they don't even want to know exist in the first place. Death unknown causes, Alberta. I mean, we've seen this. Let's see how the media spun it since we last saw this. Let me see here. So Calgary News. Look at this. Calgary News. Check out the date, people. Check out the name tag. You're in my world now. That's Happy Gilmore. What is this? So why am I not getting an article? I don't want a video. Death with unknown causes, now Alberta's top killer. July 5. Deaths with unknown causes, now Alberta's top killer. You know what I've been alive long enough to know that I've never seen? Deaths of unknown causes being the top killer. That's what I know that I've been alive long enough to know that I have never seen. Oh, by the way, don't try to factor COVID into that, because COVID is the third top killer in Alberta now. I've lived long enough. I'm pretty young, 43. I've lived long enough to know that I've never seen this before. I've lived long enough to know that I've never heard of SADS before. And I'm a hypochondriacal, neurotic, general anxiety disorder dude. I know my problems. And I've never even heard of that, despite knowing what my hypochondriacy would cause me to notice in life. But by the way, that was July 5th, 2022. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this article yet. April, May, June, July to August. A month and a half later, Fullfact.org. I haven't seen this. I'm clicking on this for the first time. We go July 5, 2022. Deaths with unknown causes. Now Alberta's top killer. From Calgary News, CTV. To fullfact.org. Let's see what they say. No evidence rise in deaths due to unknown causes in Canada is linked to COVID-19 vaccine. Thanks, Full Fact. Oh, I want to say something else so that you're full of it. It's not facts. I see Keith is in the background and I cannot keep him waiting for too long. Let's just, no evidence, people. Don't worry about it. Don't even bother reading the article. Just go along with your days and never mind. In Alberta, Canada, unknown causes of death are causing even more deaths than heart disease, strokes, diabetes. That's the fact. That's not what was claimed. Full fact. That's what they stated. And then our verdict. Other ill-defined and unknown causes was the leading recorded cause of death in Alberta, Canada. However, thanks. Thanks. Yeah. So what was claimed is true, but we, Full Fact, have decided there's no evidence these deaths were caused by the COVID-19 vaccine. You know what? They might have been caused by another equally incompetent, negligent, and arguably criminal government response. They might have been caused by stress, heart attacks, inactivity, heart attacks, loneliness. Loneliness kills. And if anybody doesn't know that, look it up. Oh no, it might have been caused by stress, loneliness, unemployment, drug addiction, all other sorts of still government related. But they've looked it up and don't worry about it. Deaths from unknown causes have not been linked to vaccines. That's why they're called unknown causes, you jackasses. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna finish this up later. Yeah, no. We don't know the cause, but we know what's not the cause. Write that down. Propaganda 101. I cannot attest to the truthfulness of this. Dana M. spent over a decade as an EMT, and the sad stuff was news to me when I heard about it. I'm a neurotic type. My mother, if you think I'm bad, my mother's worse than me. If SADS were a thing, I would have heard about it as of whenever.